Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at VRA. So in the last week, it's revived, isn't it? It's rejuvenated all the way up to the 200 exponential on the daily, just short of a 100% move. So for those who follow this channel, you know, we bought VRA at the absolute bottom here. We've been watching it. We were watching it come all the way down. We wanted a little piece of the price action. All these other coins on Kucoin that we were watching, and the market as a whole was all moving up, but VRA was like a delayed fuse. So we actually managed to buy the bottom on this one. So even when it comes to the tether pairing, the overall entry that we got in on here was is still in profit even at these lows, but the Bitcoin pair is even better. There's much better looking chart on the Bitcoin pair, but we're interested in what's going on the tether pair today. It's a bit more easy to understand. So from its absolute lows, recent lows, to its absolute top yesterday, just short of 100%, rejected on the 200 exponential moving average. Now that's a really big, bold move and very encouraging, but I think it's going to peter out. I don't think it's quite ready to reclaim those zones quite yet, but we look at this on the 4-hourly chart, and just like all these coins that we were looking at on the Patreon stream the other night, a lot of them have got this continuation of trend signal formed or forming, and VRA is no exception. It got its signal around here, and the price action of that candle body open and close was 0.23 of a cent. So 2.3 of a cent. Sorry, 2.3 of a cent. So from that signal, it's already yielded a decent move. Even to this retrace, it's 33% up. So that's good from that entry if anyone got in on it. I've not bought any more of this, by the way, just let you know. My VRA purchases were way back in the summer last year, and I've only ever really actually sold it since then, selling on the way up. So the bit that I've got now is what I would continue to hold. It's called, I suppose, screw it money, or it's just the nature of the way I trade. So you buy low, you sell on the way up, get your profit, take your investment out, get some profit, maybe some more profit on top of that, and then just let the rest ride, do its things. Like free crypto, isn't it? You just never know what will happen, especially with something like VRA. And if VRA does generate some really strong signals on the larger term timeframes, I probably would buy more. That might sound counterintuitive to people, but why don't you just buy low? But I mean, I bought low already. I will buy more if I'm going to get an instant gratification out of those trades. And at the moment, there are things brewing. It's similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's brewing a nice signal on the 4-hourly time frame, which is it's not so much a signal, but it's a golden cross incoming, probably going to generate at this point now. It looks like it will generate in the next few days. And what this would normally imply would be, get our golden cross, that's our 200 exponential, that's our 50. We'll probably retest that, dumping down into it, maybe even a little lower to fill the CME gap. And so because that's my overall expectation with Bitcoin, you have to transfer that understanding over to any altcoin that you're looking to trade. And so I would expect that VRA will also incur a dump as a result of that. But that dump could easily be picked up, provided the 200 exponential on the 4-hourly holds on Bitcoin, and there's no other signals, first of all, on the Bitcoin chart, like bearish divergence on the small term timeframes, which we don't have at the moment, or traditional markets also playing their very important role into what's caused this downtrend for crypto. Because crypto, people are calling it for a bear market like 2018. That might happen. It might happen, but as we've discussed loads of times, the entire downtrend for crypto is not so much to do with crypto. It's more to do with the overall traditional markets and economy and inflation and all these sort of things, the virus, and it's all very much tied in. The more money that goes into Bitcoin from large players, institutions, and just whales and Wall Street, the more it gets absorbed into the overall system, and then the more absorbed that Bitcoin gets into the system, all altcoins generally follow, because they're basically, their health is undermined by Bitcoin's ability to hold its value or lose its value. So unfortunately, when you're looking at any altcoin, it is like a penny stock on the stock exchange now. You can trade it, you can trade its chart, but overall it's going to be subject to the larger economy, and at the moment the economy is a little bit of a dodgy area. But we can, for now at least, like the next few weeks, maybe the majority of February, until the rate hike takes place in March, we might be able to treat these charts appropriately and trade them upon their signals. I mean, it's been a it's been a decent move yesterday from the signals that we were spotting on Sunday on the Sunday live stream. I made a little video clip of some of the things we talk about on the Patreon channel, and VRA was one of them. So we have to take it on face value. It's looking okay. However, you know, a pullback is required. So first of all, just like Bitcoin, we're holding on the 10 exponential at the moment. We're holding above the 10 exponential. So that's a good sign at the moment. And again, this is very, very short-term time frame stuff. But we have had some bearish divergence form on the RSI here on the 4-hour. We don't have that on Bitcoin. So this would make it a worse dump if Bitcoin comes down to test, first of all, the golden cross, which is not yet formed, but looks almost inevitable. Plus, we've got the CME gap, which really does want to get filled, and it would be bought up. I'm pretty sure it will be bought up, you know, just for some decent trades. It will be bought up, but for the moment we've not yet retested that level, and I think that's pending. That's a move that's pending, so I wouldn't be looking to enter any more trades until we go lower. And I just made a video on Bitcoin earlier, and we were measuring this out, and actually if we did come down to the CME gap from this current level that we're at right now, it's a 6.5% move, right? So it's quite a large move from this current price action. And if we come from the top of the wick, that's a 10% move. So again, you know, quite dramatic. But there is one other area, one other thing that could happen for Bitcoin, which is that we bounce from this 10 exponential and carry on up to this major area of resistance, which is 46,500. And if that's the case, then we will get a decent rejection from there, and that could be the one that carries us all the way down to the CME gap, and basically retesting this golden cross. The golden cross isn't a signal in itself, but it is a sign of strength, and what it basically means is moving averages all in the right place. You've got your 10, that's good, that's the right place. You've got your 20 and your 21, that's in the right place. At the moment you've got a 200, but the 50 is below it, and so when you get a golden cross, it basically means that the longer term time frame moving averages are usually the last ones to cross, and they all act as supports on the way down, and the divergence of those moving averages basically shows strength building. So that's what the golden cross is all about. And golden crosses on 4 hours have decent most of the time they have decent plays, just like they do when they death cross. So we had a golden cross over here with a nice move for Bitcoin. I know we're talking about Bitcoin a bit too much. We could measure it from this wick here. From that top, it's a 40% move. That was a 47% move from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. Then we had our death cross form here, and again, this is just a 4-hourly chart, so we'll measure that just to be extra conservative from the absolute low here, or this retest of this low. Obviously that's not where the cross happened. The cross happened up here, so you'd yield even more, but we'll just be fair to show how dramatic these can be, and measure that all the way down to the bottom. That's a 40% move, so they can generate really powerful moves. Not all the time. I mean, sometimes you see these golden crosses form and go into is like an accumulation phase. So we make the cross, then we dump quite heavily into it, and the price kind of messes around and sometimes even breaks down a little bit. So we get our golden cross, then we get a death cross, followed by a second golden cross, which is almost certainly going to be the one that plays, and you get that 40% move, or maybe even more. So rather than saying it's definitely going to do 40% or not, I mean, the fact is that it's a way to see strength or weakness build, and at the moment we've not got it, and I'd expect a retest into it. That's very common. Did we get one on the last one over here? Not so much, actually. We just came straight up and away, but it's pretty common to see a retest of it. It doesn't have to happen. So again, we could get this golden cross and we could shoot straight up. Who knows? It's all speculative. That's the beauty of trading. There's no definite result that has to happen, but all there is a way of sifting through the price action with a variety of different indicators to balance your risk to reward. And so for a trade, for me, the only trade that I'd be looking to take on now would potentially be a short from this area down to what could be as low as the CME gap. But if that doesn't happen, if we just do come down to the CME gap and these moving averages, it would be a long position from here. So understanding that with Bitcoin, you transfer that information over to VRA, and then obviously emphasize the size of the moves, because VRA is going to move, greater up and almost certainly greater down. And at the moment we've pushed quite high, like specifically very high, overshot the mark, I would say, to be honest with you. So much so that it's finding it difficult for me to bring up this chart. It's all messed up. I mean, it's not even showing me the bloody candlestick. Let's just refresh that for a minute. I love HyperTrader, but sometimes it can be a little bit weird and laggy, especially with these Kucoin charts. It might be a problem with the API management maybe. So yeah, this is a massive area of rejection here. We had a candle born outside of the Bollinger Band, which is usually a sign to get sucked back in on it, and obviously a rejection from the 200 exponential. So I don't see VRA going up anytime soon. I think the daily is basically saying that you've gone crazy, you've gone way too hard, too fast. So we'll bring it back down to because there's nothing else on this daily term time frame which is going to show us anything other than rejection and being reabsorbed back into that Bollinger Band there. And the 4 hourly, if it could only just show it to me, all we've got to go by is the continuation of the trend signal, which is from the Ichimoku cloud, and that is a good thing, because let's just say, I mean, for me it's kind of okay, because I'm okay just to let things ride, but for anyone who wants to learn and play these signals, you know, this is a great thing. You've got a cross above the cloud, price action above the cloud, Chiku span above the price, all of those components combine into one signal, which is a buy signal, which was generated around this level here, about 2.3 cent, like what we said, and the exit point will be when this Chiku span, wherever it is, touches the price action. That's an exit point number one. If you want to hold on for a little longer, because sometimes it can continue after that, it's when this blue moving average crosses this red moving average, and again, none of that looks like it's going to happen anytime soon. But if we're thinking about Bitcoin pulling back by the tune of 6.5%, I believe, what it was, then we can apply the same knowledge to the 4 hourly on VRA's pair, meaning that we could come down to 2.5 cents again, which is where the 200 exponential is. Again, this is a very strong support here, and it might not even come down to this level yet. We will get a golden cross on this if we stay above these moving averages. We're just not. They're not in any time soon. I'd probably say if we continue to be above these, which is quite likely, to be honest with you, if we continue to be above those, we'll get the golden cross probably about 2 or 3 days. And again, that is not a signal to buy. But if we come down and get the golden cross, or if we're coming down to the golden cross level, and we are looking at a support around the 200 exponential, which again at the moment is about 2.5 cents. It might be an okay opportunity to try and stock up a little bit more on this, and I might be interested in doing that, because the overall picture, and from what I understand of the fundamentals, which is, you know, it's not my bag, is that this is probably gonna go on to make some decent moves over time. Like, I mean, substantial moves. I remember buying into this when it was trading at less than $500,000, you know, back down here, and nobody wanted it. It was called a scam and all this, that, and the other. You know how it is. People like to call things a scam or a Ponzi or whatever it is when the price is down, but they fail to recognize that actually that's the time where you want to get in, even if it is a Ponzi. You want to be at the top of the pyramid scheme. You don't want to be at the bottom. You don't want to be the last person in, which is often the problem. And the people that call for these things to be scams are usually the people that buy the tops, and obviously have to wait a significant amount of time, if not indefinitely, to get their money back, or even make some profit. You know, so looks good on the short-term time frames. We're going to follow Bitcoin closely, and then from that point we could enter into this. Now, I know that on Kucoin you can do futures trading on VRA. I wouldn't suggest doing it. I often feel like, what's the point really when you can do futures traded on something like Bitcoin, which is the one that's leading the market, and just up the leverage a little bit to compensate for the smaller moves? But I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to margin trade this thing. There's no point to do a futures trade on VRA. There's just no point at all, unless of course you're extremely confident that you've definitely got the best entry possible and your risk management is there. I would stay well away from it. You don't need to futures trade something like VRA. You can just do simple spot trading on it and get some serious gains. I mean, just like I say, over the last week it's done 100%. You know, that's an amazing return on a spot trade, and even from the entry point where we got the buy signal, it was about a 40% move. So pretty good stuff going there. There's not really any need to go mad and do futures trading, but again, you know, if you like living on the edge, then do it. It's not for me. Right, so I'll leave with you there. We're going to follow Bitcoin. That's the main thing. Bitcoin's probably going to drag this down to the 200 exponential. 2.5 cent is the major area of support for VRA at the moment. That will change over the next week, incrementally going up a little bit as the moving averages will snake up a little bit. If we break down below 2.5 cent, we can probably just about handle 2.3 cent. If that goes, then yeah, we'll leave this one the hell alone, and we'll wait for the overall market to show some major signs of long-term recovery, which I think will be after March, to be honest with you. You know, I've gone through the reasons why I think that, but yeah, after March, and generally across the board, I think after March is when things are going to get more interesting. The markets generally should be a little bit more stable at that level because of the rate hikes anyway. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.